You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to rest.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Intuition Queen podcast. We're back here finally after a year with my first guest. Her name is Ashley from Ashely Light. Hello, Ashley.
Hi, I'm so excited to be your first guest. I forgot about that.
Yes, you are. You know, I said to myself last year when I stopped in September, I'm just going to take 6 months off, and then time just went by. And now it's pretty much almost a year. But I'm so excited and so happy to have you. You are a life and a business coach, and you're doing so many amazing things. I absolutely love what you do, and I'm so happy that you're here. And I cannot wait for you to tell us your story, because I feel your story resonates a lot with me. But I think it's going to resonate with a lot of other people watching and listening to the podcast. So just a reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to tune in and watch us live. Otherwise, you can listen to us on every podcast platform. All right, let's get into it. My usual question is, tell us your story. How did everything started for you in terms of was your intuition something that you knew you used, or something that was something you didn't know anything about?
Yeah, I would say for the most part of the beginning years in my life, I was just doing what everyone else was doing. I was being the child that I was supposed to be, doing the things that I was supposed to be doing. I didn't have a family that was spiritually connected to their intuition, doing anything really that their soul was calling them to do. They were living out of the shoulds, out of the need tos, out of the have tos. So I grew up just like every other child, really, right? Not feeling this sense of connectedness until I got into my teens, and I would say my late teens. I really started to tap in more and more to myself. And it really stemmed from a diet change, which allowed me to really get connected, because I was not feeling great. I would go to bed almost every night like birthing twins. Like my stomach would be so big. You would be like, Ashley, do you have like 3 babies in there? What is happening? And I didn't know. So I started talking to a friend, and she suggested a blood type diet. And I looked into it. At this point, I felt quite desperate because I wanted to feel good. And my blood type is A positive, and the recommended diet is basically a vegan diet. So I was committed right away. I went all in. Let me try this. Let me change this. I started to feel so good, so vibrant, like so much healthier. I had so much more energy. And I really think I started to clear a channel for me to connect deeper, for me to really find out, who am I? What is my soul actually saying? What is my intuition saying? Like, I had never experienced this in my life. Like, that one change started to change everything. And I started to realize, oh, I don't like this job that I'm working. Like, I'm just living this life that doesn't fuel me, that doesn't really feel good. I'm doing it because I think that's what everyone does. That's what I have to do, but it doesn't feel good. And I started really to open my eyes to what other people were doing and how they were living. And I saw people living lives of freedom, which really is what drives me. And I wondered how. How are they living a life so free? How are they going to the park on a Tuesday at 1 p.m. with their dog? Why are they not at a workplace? Like, how am I at a workplace and they're in the park with their dog in the afternoon? So I really got curious and started to wonder, is there another way? And that's really, I think, when my intuition kicked in, like, Ashley, there's gotta be another way. There's gotta be a way that you can really be happy, fulfilled, enjoy your life, and still make money and still make a living, and, you know, have it be all of this, not just at a job, not being happy with where you are. So I got curious and I started asking people, and that led me into network marketing. I don't do it anymore, but it was such a beautiful experience to see, oh, wow, I can create a life. I can start a business, I can sell products, and I can really partner with this health company, which I became so invested in my health after my diet change because I started to feel so good. And it really opened my eyes to the possibilities. I saw powerful women on stage giving presentations, giving lectures, workshops, teaching, guiding. And I got so inspired, again, like that calling within, like, Ashely, like, go here, explore this, dive deeper into that. So I really latched on to a few of these women, and I asked them questions, and I started to follow them online and really just watch what they were doing and see what kind of things they were doing in their life. And it really showed me all that was possible for me. At the beginning of that, I still had the hesitation, I wasn't able to really go through with it at that time. But what started to happen was the life that I was living started really to fade away because I got so much more in tune with myself. And I heard what my soul was saying, and I heard what my soul was calling me to do. And I was living in Toronto, Canada at the time that all this transformation started to happen. I had been on a trip to Los Angeles with my parents when I was 18, and something about LA felt magical to me. When I was 18, I didn't know what intuition was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know anything, but something felt magical about Los Angeles. So once I started to open myself up years later, I changed my diet. I met the people in network marketing. I started to wonder if where I was living was actually the place for me. I started to feel really out of place. My parents didn't understand me at all. Like, they would put me on my own separate island. Like, this is Ashley's world and we don't quite understand it. So we're just going to like put it over here because we don't get it. And my friends started not to resonate with me anymore. So I felt like a fish out of water.
Right.
And I was hair modeling at the time. I've been doing hair modeling casually for like 10 years. And I got flown out to Los Angeles. This was about 7 years ago. So I got flown out to LA, this like all expenses paid trip. I was walking on a runway, like the most exhilarating experience of my life. And I decided to make it a whole vacation and self-exploration, if you will. I was in a toxic relationship at the time. He didn't want to come with me. He thought I was crazy for doing this. So I said, okay, I'm going to go on just a self-exploration. I'm going to have a little journey around Los Angeles, Southern California, and just get to know myself better, right? Really see if I can hear more of what's going on inside. And gosh, like my soul was lit on fire, driving around and just seeing the ocean and feeling the sun on my face and my body and eating all the delicious, like healthy, nourishing foods. And everything about that trip just lit me on fire. And my intuition was like, you need to move here. Like, you need to move here. And it was so funny because I would meet people at restaurants and shops, and they knew I was from Toronto, and they said, how do you like LA? Do you like it here? I said, I love it here. I'm going to move here. And they're like, oh, when are you moving? I was like, I don't know. I just decided I'm moving here. And they're just laughing and thought it was so funny. But it's like that calling within was so strong that I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't not say that I was moving there because it's like, yeah, I'm going to move there. So that trip ended, and I had it really in my mind, like, I'm moving to Los Angeles. And I went back home and started to just try to get the pieces together. Now, it was a very complicated process. You can't just move to the United States from Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not an easy thing. So while it sounds easy in theory, okay, cool, she just was going to move to LA, but it's not that easy. So I could have got myself lost in all the details. I could have got myself in the state of fear and thinking, what if it doesn't work? And what if this? And what if that? But it's like the intuition was so strong that I knew I had to follow it, that this will work out. I will figure it out. It will work out however it needs to be. So I just packed 2 suitcases and left. Like, I said goodbye to my family, and I said goodbye for however long because what I was doing wasn't really legal. And so I didn't know if I'd be able to cross the borders to see them again. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that pull inside was so strong that I had to go. Like, everything conspired to send me to Los Angeles. People I was meeting, I would see people in grocery stores in Toronto who lived in LA, and it's like all the signs, LA, LA, LA. Like, the messages were so strong that I knew it's what I had to do. And I didn't let anything stand in the way. I didn't let anything stop me from coming out here. So I've been here now like six or 7 years. I always lose track of time.
Wow, wow. I love this story so much. First of all, because I resonate with it, because that's how I moved to London 12 years ago. Well, actually, I went there when I was 14 and I felt the same. I was like, this is my place. I need to be here. And then obviously I was too young and I came home and I said to my mom, I'm going to move there when I turn 18. She was like, yeah, right. And obviously I did that quite a lot later, but I kept going to London as a tourist to go see concerts. And every time I was like, I need to be here. And when I moved, obviously in England, Italy is super easy, but I felt the exact same. Like at some point I felt like you, everybody was talking about it, there were signs everywhere. I was like, oh my god, what the hell is going on? And someone said to me, Mara, it's about time you do what you said you were gonna do. And I did it, and I didn't have a job, and I figured things out as I was there. So I absolutely resonate with you with this. And I know there are a lot of people that have this call to move somewhere else. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I just moved back to Italy after almost 12 years, and it was not something that I had in mind, and really was not a choice. But then my intuition just kind of said, you have to move. And I was like, okay, let me think about this. Just like, no, you have to move. But now, because obviously knowing and understanding my intuition, it's a quick decision. It's no longer waiting for years. But I feel this is so powerful for so many of us. This is about moving country, which is a big step, but I feel that intuition speaks to us so much. And when you feel that that place is your place, that person is your person, that job is your job, then you have to follow it. You have to go for it.
That actually brings up something so interesting. During my time here in LA, I went through a divorce and things were really tough, right? I didn't have a job. He was supporting me, but obviously he was going to then soon not support me. And I was trying to get a job and I couldn't. And I had rent to pay, bills to pay, and things just didn't seem to be working out. And I was trying everything I could to get a job, but it's like all the doors were closing. And I reached out to someone who I knew in Toronto. She had an affiliation with a natural beauty store here in Los Angeles. And I said, oh, let me reach out to her and see if she has any connections in LA, if they're hiring, if I could get a job there. So I reached out to her and she said, unfortunately, they're not hiring in LA, but I'm hiring in Toronto. And I said, well, I just left Toronto. Like, I live in LA now. And she said, sorry, there's nothing in LA. And every door kept closing and closing. Finally, again, it's like intuition said, maybe you need to move home a little bit. Maybe you need to move back home just for a little while, figure things out, get settled, start this job with this natural beauty company in Toronto, and then come back to LA with the same company. This was crazy because I wanted to be in LA. I didn't want to go back to Toronto, but every door was closing. It's like all the signs were saying, this is not working right now at this time. So I went back to Toronto. I started this job with this natural beauty company, which didn't make sense. The pay was less than I had probably ever made. Like, I was earning as much as someone in high school and I was in my late 20s. Like, it didn't make sense at all. Nothing about that move made sense. It's like almost as if I took a step backwards, but I knew it was the step that I needed to take to then bring me forward. So I only stayed there for 7 months. 7 months, I earned what a high school person would earn. And then I was granted a massive opportunity to come back to LA and open up a new store for this company, to basically be the boss, to be in charge, like to be a leader at this company. Had I not trusted my intuition, moved back home as much as I didn't like want to, and started that low paying job, I would have never then come back to LA to be granted this huge leadership position with this company, which would then put me on track to staying here and really becoming stable on my own.
Yeah, this is so amazing. And thank you for sharing this. I feel this is so important because obviously when we have a plan and we are kind of leaving the plan because you were leaving your dream place, which was LA, having this thing, your intuition telling you, no, you need to go back home. I just can't imagine your resistance at that point and how you felt. Would you like to talk a little bit about the resistance and how you felt and how you kind of accepted that that was the thing that you had to do?
Yeah, of course, there's so resistance at first because it's like, this is not part of the plan. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here. I'm supposed to be here. My intuition led me here. It's supposed to work out for me here. So, what did I do? I pushed and I forced and I like
Mm.
really did this fighting kind of motion all the time. Like, okay, let me apply for more jobs. Let me go and search for more places that I could work at. And let me try to get in contact with more people. It was just like pushing and forcing. And literally, it was as if every door was being slammed in my face. Like, there was one company that interviewed me, and I was so excited, like, yes, this could be it. And then they said, we're actually not hiring right now, but we would love to hire you in the future. We just do interviews on the regular. And I was like, what? Why would you have interviewed me if you're not hiring? And they said, oh, that's just how we operate. We always interview every single month, even if we're not hiring, but we would love to hire you in the future. And I was
All
like, I
right.
need a job now. Like, I need it now. So it's like, no matter how much I was pushing and
Mm.
forcing, it was still no, no, no. So finally I had to surrender. It had to come to surrender. Like, okay, I get that there's something that I don't quite understand, that I can't figure out, that logically I can't wrap my head around, but why am I having these whispers inside? Like, maybe go back home, maybe go
Right.
back home, maybe try that job. Like, I kept feeling those little whispers, and it was like, okay, I surrender. I don't want to fight. I don't want to push. I don't want to force. Let me go there and just trust. I had to trust that it will work out, trust that it will lead me back, and just surrender to that.
Oh, I love this. I think this is so powerful because it's the most difficult thing. Like, even with my clients, it's trusting that everything will work out as long as you stop pushing, or figuring out when is your intuition talking or when it's something else talking, and
Mm,
making the decision from your intuition based rather than maybe fear or something
mm-hmm.
else. So, and I think it takes a lot of courage to trust yourself that what you don't want has to happen in order for you to get what you want and get it right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A phrase that really became part of my vocabulary and that I use even with my clients is, this is only temporary, right? Like, this is only temporary. It's not saying that this is how it has to be for the rest of your life. It's not that this choice is the only choice that you'll ever make again. It's like, this is only temporary.
Yeah, yeah. We're always changing, and so things will change anyway. So we need to go through
Mm-hmm.
discomfort and move through it to learn the lessons, I guess, and
Yeah.
to get in alignment. All right, so now you're back in LA, you're doing this job, you're the manager of the store. What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, still it's like I'm not living out what I thought I would be living out when I was watching those women on stage and so inspired by them. And, I felt good that I was a boss, I was a leader. So I was kind of moving up in terms of leadership and in a role where I had influence, and it's like, okay, this is good, we're on the path, but still I don't have that ultimate freedom that I desire. I still don't have the ability to really help the people that I want to help. It's, I'm leading whoever it is that's working at the store, whatnot, right? So I still felt there was something missing. It got me on my feet, it was paying my bills, great, but I still felt there was something that I hadn't dove into yet, which was really becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a coach, and going down that route. And I didn't know how it was going to happen. So I stayed in tune and I just kept going through the motions, like living a much more connected life,
Mm,
deepening my spiritual practice, like really getting into the things that helped me to feel like I was evolving and growing, and just deepening my knowledge and my connection to my intuition. And it turned out that one of the women that I used to watch on stage when I first got into this, she was visiting LA quite a few times. And we met up a couple times for coffee and a chit chat. And I really viewed her as this woman that I aspired to be like. And she was doing what I hoped I would be doing one day. And the last time she came to LA was in July 2019. And we sat down, and again, like something took over me where I just looked at her and said, I'm ready. I want you to guide me. I want you to teach me what you're doing. And I didn't even know what she had available. I didn't even know that that was an option. It's like we were having a coffee, just talking. We didn't set an intention to meet and talk about business or how
Right.
she could help me. But something within me when I was sitting in that coffee shop was like, now, Ashley, now. Like, now is your opportunity. She's right here beside you. You need to tell her that you're ready. It's like, but ready for what? Like, I don't even know what she would do. But as it turns out, she said, oh, what perfect timing. I've just created a method and I can teach you this method, and I can like take you under my wing, and we can work one-on-one together, and I can walk you through what I do. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Like, and I signed up right away. I was like, sign me up, like take my money. I don't even care. Don't even tell it. Like, just yes, this is a yes. And again, it was that trusting, just knowing that this was exactly what I needed to do. So I did that, and I did get a little bit stuck after that because I had this beautiful method that she taught me. I crafted a beautiful presentation. I spent months and months like preparing myself, but I wasn't taking aligned action. So I was sort of behind the scenes working at things, but I still didn't have clients, right? And my confidence was elevating. I started to tell my boyfriend that I was a coach, and he was like, okay, but you don't have any clients. So how are you a coach? And I was just like, oh, but I am a coach. Like I am. And he's like, well, I don't know. Like no one's really working with you right now. And I'm like, okay. I'm just trying to elevate my confidence here. And so 2020, everything shut down in the world. So I was forced to go even deeper and be like, Ashley, what are you doing? Like, are you going to do this or not? Because sitting at home, crafting a beautiful presentation, preparing for something that you don't even know that's still not doing the thing. It's still
Right.
not living the thing that you want to be living. So what are you going to do about it? And I took the shutdown, the lockdowns as an opportunity for me to make it happen, to just make the things happen, to actually put myself out there, to actually start speaking about what I'm doing, networking with people like you know, like meet people, put myself out there,
Yeah.
talk about what I'm doing, and just go and do it, not be the hidden person in her room crafting a beautiful presentation. Well, no, that wasn't getting me anywhere. So yeah, 2020 was truly the greatest year of my life. It was because I built a business from scratch. I hired mentors and coaches, aside from this woman who got me started, more business coaches, business mentors, people who could show me, okay, now you have these things, this foundation, but how are you going to sell yourself? How are you going to market
Yeah.
yourself? And I just took off from there. And it's like, wow, within 1 year, I've created a full business for myself.
Yes. Oh, I love this. I love absolutely this. And I know that, you know, things are meant to happen in a certain way. And it's difficult to see the way when we are stuck in doing something that doesn't make sense for us, or that we know it's just there for the moment. But and I love that you took action during the lockdown. I know this is something that a lot of people did, because I heard this a lot of times. Like I created my business and it just blew up. But I also know that a lot of people didn't use this time to do what they were supposed to be doing or they wanted to do. So tell me a little bit, how did you manage to pivot from being a coach, saying that you're a coach, and getting to finally start to get clients and start to see results of what you're doing?
It took learning the more, I would say, like sacred masculine components to business, because here I was like, ooh, I can teach you this and I can talk about this and I can do that. And like, it felt so good and I felt excited and it felt so beautiful and I wanted to change the world and impact all these people, but I didn't have like sacred masculine structures. Like, okay, here's how I could approach marketing. Here's how I could approach sales. I didn't have any of this knowledge.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I know my stuff. I can talk to you about emotional intelligence, mindset, like beliefs, all of this, human potential all day long. Like I know the stuff, but what I don't know is how to grow the business, how to do the
Mm.
marketing, how to do the sales. I don't know any of that. So I looked at what was I missing? What did I need to put more attention to? And it's like, okay, I need to put my focus and my attention to learning how to market on Instagram, how to market on Facebook, how to set up emails, how to do a program, like how to do all these things. I didn't have those sacred masculine structures supporting me whatsoever. So
Mm-hmm.
as a result, I was just sort of free floating around like with this idea, feeling good, but nothing to really ground me and put me in a state of actually making it happen.
Yeah, I think that's what happens to all of us, whichever situation. Because I left my job, my full-time job, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm free." And then I'm like, "And now what?
Yeah.
What do I do now?" And then I kind of had to start. Like I use the coach, but obviously there is so much that you need to learn when you start to create the business that you know it's
Mm-hmm.
the business that it will
Yeah.
change and evolve, but it's that thing that lights you up so much, and you don't want to screw it up. You don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
anything wrong. You just want to make sure that you understand everything and you make
Yep.
it work.
Mm-hmm. And I would say I went a little bit extreme with that now that I reflect back when I first started, like my head was down all the time. I was working, working, working like all day, all night, no rest, not enjoying my life. So I went a bit extreme. And
Mm-hmm.
looking back, I realized it didn't need to be that extreme. I didn't need to spend like 16 hours at my desk just because I became an entrepreneur and I was growing a business.
Yeah.
It didn't mean that I had to sacrifice everything in my life to do that. So looking back, it's like, that didn't have to happen. I really just took it as much more of an extreme than it needed to be.
Yeah, I think that's what you do, because this is what we've been taught to do. Like this is what you do when you work in a corporate job, and
Mm-hmm.
you think this is gonna be the same, and in the beginning you kind of forget that the point was for you to be free and do things differently, and but you have this pressure that you have to make money, you have
Mm-hmm.
to bring an income that will sustain you. And I feel, at least that was for me, the fear of not being able to do that pushes you to work overtime. And then
Mm-hmm.
for me, that I'm also a generator, then
Mm-hmm.
I just get really tired, because when
Mm-hmm.
I'm going on, I can go on and on and on and on
Yeah.
because I do have the energy, but then I get burnout because it's too
Mm-hmm.
much and there is no
Yep.
happy moments. While when you learn to be in your feminine, when you learn to use your energy, the masculine and the feminine, in the right
Mm-hmm.
way, then you also know when it's time to push and when it's time to relax and have fun. And that's
Yeah.
okay, because we're not meant to work 9 to 7 like they told us
Yeah.
we should. And we can just take time as we like, and as it's aligned to our energy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And interesting you bring up human design because I'm a manifester and the manifester has less energy. But if you would have seen me when I first started my business, you would never think that I'm a manifester because I was going, 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 going all day long. And human design has transformed my life. I coach using human design now because it truly changed my life. When I really started to come into alignment with my energetics, it's like, oh my gosh, yes. No wonder I was completely exhausted, wondering what was happening because I don't have that energy available to be sitting at my desk for 18 hours a day and working and working and working. That it's very supportive for me to have help and for me to generate ideas and to have other people perhaps finish the idea and
Yeah.
then I go into rest or I come up with more ideas. Like learning that changed so much for me. And now I'm actually living in so much more alignment with what feels good to me. And I'm tapped back into my intuition now with business because at
Mm-hmm.
first, you know, I felt like kind of straight from that. It's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to follow what everyone else is telling
Yeah.
me to do, almost losing complete touch with myself because I felt, how would I know what to do? I don't. I've never run a business, so I'm going to trust everything that everyone's saying. But it's about tapping back into me. Okay, how do I want to feel when I run my business? How do I want my business to grow? Like, I have to come back to myself. And now that I have, again, it's like, oh my gosh, completely different from when I started.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear you there. And human design, I'm doing the same. I'm using now human design combined with color therapy and everything else with my clients. And it just gives you that real understanding of yourself. And it
Mm-hmm.
changes so much. For me, the biggest struggle was I am all about being in the flow and I am all about being intuitive and creative. But having to wait to respond. I was thought that I just go and get stuff and I just take action, and for me that was a little bit of a struggle because I'm also a Cancer, so I just go and I do.
Yeah.
And learning to understand what it means to use your strategy and starting to follow that and seeing the
Mm-hmm.
result, you're like, okay, this is a completely different ball game. Let's do this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, since we met.
It's nice. It can take the pressure off, right? Like,
Yes.
like.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. When I had my first reading, I'm like, oh my God, how do you know? How do you know all
You're
those
like, you
things
know
about me?
me.
That's me you're talking about.
It's so
Um,
crazy.
it
Mm-hmm.
is. And I remember when I had it, the guy was like, your title, intuitive and creative coach, is not just a fancy title. You're very creative. You're very intuitive. You need to make sure that you saying this energy and that you have
Wow.
fun when you're doing your things, because otherwise you're just gonna. I was like, okay. All
I
right,
love that.
so thank you. um
What beautiful confirmation. Wow.
yes, and so since then I'm like, okay, I think I need to learn more about this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's get into the nit and grit of what you do. You're a life and a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
You use human design. Tell us exactly what you do and how you help people.
Yeah. So I'm absolutely connected to the spiritual realm. So I work mostly with spiritual entrepreneurs. And what I find is that they are like I was. Like, they
Mm,
have all these ideas and they're excited and they want to flow and do yoga and meditate and play with their crystals and make magic and do all the things, yet they're not getting compensated for it. So
right.
to backtrack a little, what started to happen was, I started my business focusing mostly on mindset and emotional intelligence. That's what I was first trained in. And really, I had business success quite quickly. And it's like I was creating programs and master classes and running Facebook ads. I became quite great at marketing on Instagram. And people were like, whoa, how are you doing all of this? So I added in the business coach to my title because I really found that I was helping spiritual entrepreneurs grow their
Mm,
business because they were stuck in this state of desire, wanting to share their spiritual gifts, to teach yoga, to share crystal healing, to do astrology. They had the desire, but they didn't know how to market themselves. They didn't know how to grow a business. They didn't know how to create a program, how to make money. So it's like really helping these spiritual entrepreneurs do that, to take their gifts, to take their talents, to take their soul's desires and turn it into a paying business, a very lucrative paying business. Like, because they know that when they generate wealth for themselves, they're breaking generational curses. They're able to do
yes.
so much more good in the world. Like, their hearts are full of gold. They're heart-centered leaders. So it's like showing them how to be a very successful heart-centered leader who's able to change the world, to elevate consciousness even more by sharing these gifts, getting compensated for them. So I really help spiritual entrepreneurs to do that. And it's such a huge passion of mine because I get this state of being in, okay, I have all these gifts, but no one's paying me. I call myself a
Yeah.
coach, but I don't have a client. So it's like how to blend the divine masculine and the divine feminine to grow a beautiful business, to achieve things that you didn't even know were possible, to create a
Mm,
life that is in flow and it follows your intuition and it feels good to you. And that's why I have to use human design because I think it's such a beautiful tool to connect you back to yourself, right? And to really tap into, okay, what energies do I have within me and how can I align with this to create a business that suits my lifestyle and a lifestyle that suits my business, so that it almost blurs like what is life, what is business. It's all this beautiful hybrid. And I have to keep the mindset, the emotional intelligence work in there, because I can't just tell you to show up on Instagram and do these 5 things.
Yeah.
If you believe that you're a failure, if you believe it's not going to work, if you believe that money only comes when you work hard, it's like we've got to tackle both. I don't believe that I can just tell you the strategies and you can show up and be highly successful without deep diving also into the mindset and into the emotional intelligence work.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. I think we need to tackle everything, emotional healing and energy healing, and then we can put down a strategy that makes sense. Because as you said, you know, we don't have to work hard. We don't have to do what every other person says we should be doing. It's fine to, you know, look up to business coaches and other people, but we are so different. We need to find our own way of doing things that works for us and that can create what we want, because otherwise we're just going to go against something that will keeps us stuck.
Exactly. It's like I've shifted so much. And yesterday I had such a beautiful experience. Actually, I went to like a full day immersion of a Kundalini yoga event, and I was there just so grateful and really reflecting on how this is my job. Like, this is work. Me coming to an 8-hour event that's focused on healing and meditation and like deepening my spiritual connection. This is my job. And what a beautiful thing that that is my job, to strengthen myself so that I can show up better in the world, so that I have more tools and I tap in deeper to myself to then be able to help you achieve whatever it is you're desiring to achieve, and to help you tap in further to yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. I think this is so beautiful. And I think this is also the reason why there is so much resistance from so many of us, because we have been told this is not a job, or this is not exactly what you should be doing. And therefore that's why we need healing. You mentioned earlier ancestral healing, and I think that's a big part of the reason why us, especially women, struggle a lot to get into a place of being in alignment and create the life and business and job, whatever profession that they want. It's because we're held back by all these limiting beliefs and stories that we're being told we should believe.
Yeah, it's huge. Like, I really want to help women break these curses that have been passed on for generations and generations in their family. And it starts with my story, you know, my family story of struggle and not living a life of purpose, not living a life of joy and bliss. And it's like, I want to be the first woman in my family to live a life on her terms, to live a life that she has created, to generate wealth for herself, not to have it come from a job that she just works because she thinks she has to. It's like to show that a woman can be wildly wealthy, changing the world in power and enjoying herself all at the same time.
Yes, sister. Yes. We're doing the same thing. I want to do the same thing. And I'm also going to be the first one to be doing this. My mom sometimes looks at me like, you're wasting your time. What is it that you're doing? That's not a job. And I'm like, yeah, okay, watch me.
Watch me. I always say that. Yeah, just watch.
Yeah, okay, that's what you say. Okay, I feel it will be good to talk a little bit about money, because you mentioned your family. It's been my journey as well, coming from a family that worked hard, and it's always like a struggle with money. And I feel it's such a big part of all of us. What would you say is the thing that women struggle the most with, money mindset?
What comes up the most with my clients, at least, and no coincidence because this was my story, is that I have to work hard to make money. That's the first one that comes up, this belief that hours, I like to say like hours at your desk will equal money in the bank. Hours in the
Yes.
job will equal money in the bank. That I've got to trade hours upon hours upon hours in order to be receiving money, that it's correlated, that the hard work is what's going to lead to higher income. So it's like breaking that, showing women how to make it so that they can be enjoying more and also earning more. I really like to say that it gets to be however you want it to be. If you want to
Mm.
spend all day at your desk and you're selling and marketing that way, you'll probably get sales. And so then you do affirm that story that by sitting at my desk all day, by working hard all day, I make money. Or you can try to change it up. Of course, there'll be resistance. I had it so much. Change it
Yes.
up so that you're taking a walk by the ocean, like I do, for example. You're taking a bath, you're in the garden, you're doing things that really feel good to you. And then sales come in that way. So now you're affirming a
Mm.
new story. You're affirming a story that, oh, wow, I get to make sales while I'm at the ocean. I get to make sales while I'm in the bath. I get to make sales while I'm in the garden. It's creating the new story and showing up for yourself with that trust. Like, I trust that by
Mm.
me fueling me, taking care of myself, connecting to source, to spirit, I know that when I do that, it puts me in a state of ultimate magnetism to magnetize clients, to magnetize
Yeah.
sales, customers, whatever it is for you. And I trust that they're going to come in that way. So it's rewriting that new story. I think that's a huge one, this working hard and making money only for working hard.
Yes, yes. And I love that you said this sentence. I trust that me being me. So I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
repeat it because again and again, it's what I also say to my clients. Like you are you, and it's okay to look up to someone else as long as you don't go compare and you don't tell
Mm-hmm.
stories that are not related to you. And once you
Mm-hmm.
start to be you, and that the magic happens. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah, money is like such a so many deep wounds. It's like so
Yes.
many of my clients, they all have something sticky as it relates to money. And a lot of people get caught up also in the comparison around money. Like, I see this person making that much money, I see this one making that much money. Why not
Yeah.
me? When is it going to be my turn? Like, again, they're straying so far from themselves that they're not trusting their own journey and their own process, and that they are not this person. Like, you are you.
Yeah.
You're focused on your journey, what you're here to do. The more you can connect back to yourself, the closer you will get to earning the money that you
Yeah.
want, because you're spending less energy outside of yourself. You're just coming
Exactly.
back to you, knowing that this is your story and your creation.
Yeah, yeah. And money is self-worth. So the more you value yourself, the more you understand yourself, and you follow yourself, the more you can attract what you want. But as you said,
Mm-hmm.
if you spread your energy around, then there is no energy to bring things back. So it
Exactly.
seems very easy, but I know, because it's also been my story, and it takes time and it takes work, but it's possible, because I mean, we're here doing what we're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
it is possible. You just need to trust yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
and trust that the universe will also provide you when there is something that you can't provide for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Trust is here. Like, that's the biggest lesson I'd say I've had
Mm.
in the last year in my business, that trust, that having this deep trust and knowing that it's on its way, that if you stay the course, if you commit to what you're doing, that it's absolutely right here, it's absolutely available to you. Why most people don't get it is because they give up too soon, they quit too soon, they don't stay the
Mm.
course, they don't stay committed, because they don't have the trust. Like, they
Yeah,
truly don't trust that it's right here, that it's actually available.
yeah, yeah, that's so right. That's so right. Okay, Ashley, thank you so much for being on this podcast. Your story is so amazing, and I loved, absolutely love what you do, and I loved how you turn your life around. Before we wrap up, is there something that you want to say to the people listening, like a message from you, to share
Mm.
with my audience?
Mm. I would say make sure that you're spending time every single day tapping into you and really connecting to yourself and to your desires, and as often as possible to lead from desire. As hard as
Mm.
this may feel, I promise you through my experiences that when I really tap into myself, let my intuition speak and follow that desire, it always leads me to the most magical things. So if you can trust that by tapping into you, by following those messages and actually following them and actually going through with what it is that's being said, that you will be led to things beyond your wildest dreams.
Yes, I love this. This is so amazing. All right, Ashley, thank you so much for. Oh no, wait! Before I let you go, I got so excited. Tell us where we can find you, where people can find you.
Yeah, you can head to my website, which is ashleyslight.com, ASHLEYS light.com. I also love hanging out on Instagram. So my handle is at ashleys.light. Yeah, come hang out. I love sharing lots of value on my Instagram. I'm also more active on my Facebook if you want to be friends too. It's Ashley Vincent on Facebook. I love making relationships. I love talking to people and just getting to know you and spending time on there. So I would love to connect.
Yay. Well, amazing. You people follow this woman because she's amazing, and she talks about a lot of good stuff that we all need to hear. So follow her, and I hope this episode has been helpful. And Ashley, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Wasn't this such a great episode? Oh my God, I love Ashley. Please go check her out. She's amazing. And I hope you enjoyed it and you got something out of it. If you have any questions, just reach out. For anybody of you that wants to work with me, just go to theintuitionqueen.com or follow me on Instagram on The Intuition Queen and ask me anything. If there is any questions that you have about the guests, about the podcast, about what I do, and I will talk to you very soon. And please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and to subscribe to my YouTube channel so then you're always updated when a new episode comes out. And I will see you next week. Ciao.